My great-uncle, Preston Appleby, was part of the 54th Engineer Battalion in 1969. The 54th Engineer Battalion was a group of people who built different kinds of weapons just in case the Soviet Union tried to take over Europe. The 54th Engineer Battalion was located in Wildflecken, Germany, in West Germany. A little bit before Mr. Appleby got sent there, Germany split into 4 territories so that the 4 Allied countries could spread democracy in Germany. So, the 4 Allied countries were the US, France, Great Britain, and Russia, also known as the Soviet Union. Eventually, the US, France, and Great Britain found out the Soviet Union had a plan to take over Europe, so the US, France, and Great Britain joined their territories into one. This made East Germany, which was owned by the Soviet Union, and West Germany, which was owned by the US, France, and Great Britain. The difference between them was that West Germany was democratic and East Germany was communist. This event is very important to American history because this caused tensions between the US and the Soviet Union. The US wanted to spread democracy in Europe, but the Soviet Union believed in communism. These tensions make up most of the causes of the Cold War. The Cold War was a war between the US and the Soviet Union in 1945 through 1991. It was about 50 years long, but it was called the Cold War because there were no battles at all. Everyone just had their weapons ready just in case they would have to use them. Anyway, many young men, like my uncle, were sent into West Germany to defend that territory, which could have potentially been taken over by the Soviet Union. Except, my uncle's story began when he was drafted into the Vietnam War. He was in the middle of his last year in college when he got drafted for the Army. They gave him until the rest of the year until he was going to be deployed. The problem is that he was going to get deployed into the worst part of the Vietnam War, so he knew he was going to die. The night before his deployment, he met a guy at the bar and got offered a spot in the 54th Engineer Battalion in Wildflecken, Germany. So he said yes and volunteered for the 54th Engineer Battalion in 1969 when he was 25 years old. In Wildflecken, Germany, he trained with nuclear bombs every day. He was told to take the fake ones apart and put them back together again. Take them apart, put them back together again. On and on. They did this every single day, so eventually they knew the bombs so well that they could do it blindfolded. This also left him with a lot of free time. My uncle said that he loved to read during his free time. Other men liked to write letters to their families. The main reason why they were there in Wildflecken is because the men needed to be armed with nuclear bombs just in case the Soviet Union started to drive their tanks into the Fulda Gap and into West Germany. The soldiers were armed with 2 different kinds of bombs, the special atomic demolition munition and the medium atomic demolition munition. If they got the call from the US President Richard Nixon, then they would have to go to a secret place where there would be a safe with a code in which they tell you to put in. If the code to the safe was correct, then there would be 5 to 6 cards, a little bit bigger than a note card, covered in wax. If they tell you the same code that is inside of the waxed cards, then you would run to the truck, grab the bombs, and head to your station. This system is really tricky and time-consuming because they had to make sure that someone didn't want them to randomly bomb that place. The job that Mr. Appleby had, just in case that happened, was to run up the mountain and bomb both sides of the mountain so that the rocks from the mountain would fall onto the tanks and soldiers below. Some other jobs that people had included bombing bridges and anything that would stop the Russians from coming in.
It never got to where I said, "Oh, this could happen tonight." No, I didn't lose any sleep. I'll put it that way about the imminent threat of setting these things off.
When Mr. Appleby went home after 2 years of serving in the 54th Engineer Battalion, he saw his family and was reunited with his girlfriend, who he later proposed to in San Francisco, California. He was very lucky that he got to volunteer in Germany rather than not coming home from the Vietnam War. But sadly, 58,219 other men lost their lives in the Vietnam War, and many of them were his friends.